So I just got my 2 Amazon packages. Definitely been waiting for this. If you guys don't know it yet, I'm a Seattle Mariners fan. It's our baseball. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be wearing this time now. And now I got the part that I needed. So it comes just like this. It does come out with these other sensors here. Definitely did not have continuity going from this wire out to this wire. And since I do have this out just like this, I'm gonna go ahead and try out my multimeter. I'm gonna touch from here to here, and I should hear an audible sound. Open. When I go ahead and heat this together, so I touch the bottom one, and it gives me the resistance. That means it's sending an electrical current on this wire here, follows through it, goes through all the coils, all the way to the other side, and the signal comes on the other side itself. So we definitely don't have an open line. So that's my new hat. I definitely like this trucker style hats. It's my Chevy hat. This is the blue Chevy Silverado with the American flag on the side. Definitely leave a link for this on my Amazon page, but most definitely I needed a new hat, and this one is awesome. I really like this, so came just in time for summer. Here's everything they're gonna need to repair, diagnose, and troubleshoot this repair. If your Maytag-bravos XL is not drying, you need a 1/4-inch drive ratchet, 1/4-inch drive socket, an 8mm socket, a magnetic tray, a putty knife, something magnetic, and a small extension here, 1/4-inch drive extension. Comes to the diagnostic tool, just need a multimeter that has the omega sign or the audible sign in order for it to tell you if your component is broken or that there's a break in the line or a short or something that is not making that component work. The first thing we're going to do when working with our dryer is actually unplug it. Now that we don't have power, we can go ahead and start taking stuff apart. So I'm going to open up my door. The first tool I'm going to be using is a putty knife, and there's 2 clips right there. All I'm going to do is grab this putty knife, stick it right in there, wiggle until it pops open. Once it pops up from one side, I'm going to start working on the other side, and I'm just going to put my finger right there, hold it in place, and continue to work on the other side. Once I pop the lid open, I want to prop it up against something. So I'm going to push the actual dryer against the wall or something that I can prop up the lid. 2 8mm, I'm going to start popping out the top portion of it. There's a wiring here. You definitely want to get that wire disconnected. I use the tiny little flathead that I have with the magnetic back tip on it. I'll pry on it until I loosen up that wire. Once I disconnect that wire, I can definitely move on to disconnecting that other screw. Once that screw is out and this plug is removed, I'm able to move this entire front portion of the dryer off to the side. All it is been held by 2 little 8mm. So I'll prop this up to the side, and then I'll continue working on the front portion of the dryer. Now, here's where your 1/4-inch drive socket comes in place. There is 6 screws that you need to remove. This is going to be my first one. The top one here, do not remove it all the way. There's a little holder on there that you can leave it. It helps when installing and also removing that one. So don't remove that one. The bottom one here, completely remove that. And that is our 4th one. We're going to, as soon as I'm done with that one, I like using the extension for the bottom one because it is a tight space and I don't want to like get my fingers cut. All these little pieces of metal here are really sharp. There's a ton of sharp corners. So with the extension, I remove the bottom one here, and directly across from it, you have your 6th and final bolt that you're going to be removing. Completely remove this. Once you're done removing this, don't forget to actually remove that wire that is attached to that front portion. I did forget it on my first try, and I got this plate removed.
Definitely don't do that. Remove this prior. It's going to make your life easier. Now I got the front plate removed and the drum, and I did it backwards. Now when you're done with that, you can just easily pop it straight up. Just make sure you wiggle. That's why I left those top two screws right there. They are a rest. As you can see, the holes are wider in the bottom, so you're able to leave those two on there, easily pop it out. As you can see, I didn't do it in order as far as the wiring itself, so I did have to do that, but I made sure I put it in order so you guys can remove the wire, then actually pull this up and down, which makes your life easier, and actually you learn from my mistakes ahead of time. So now we're going to remove the actual belt. There's a tensioner in the back. We're going to have to like move that aside and actually pop the belt out. I'm going to show you how.
The tensioner's right here. We'll be able to pull this out. The belt drives in the back, comes down, swings around your pulley on the motor, and then shoots out. Then from here it goes up to your drum and around the drum, so you can easily just pull this up, hold it, and push with one, and then slam forward because it's got tension on there. So the tensioner is going to go back. The belt's going to ride through the bottom of the tensioner. It's going to go around the pulley through the bottom of the drum, and then the top of the drum is going to come here, and it's going to get nice and tight, pushed up like this. When I released it, slammed down, and that's because of the spring. So this is what we're going to test. We're going to pull. You can pull both of these out, or you can pull the bottom one, either or. You want continuity from here. The coil wraps all the way around, comes back, and it ends up here. There's a break in here. Will be easily identified, and we'll be able to replace it.
So the heating element has constant power running through it. So there's sometimes it'll have a short or it'll have a break in between it. You want it to not have a break in between it, have constant power running through it, so it can heat up the actual air that goes into your dryer. And this is what it looks like, and the heat radiates outward, and then the actual fan blows the hot air into the actual drum.
All right, so for this housing itself, you have two components here. All you're gonna need is to take them out from here and here, and then just place them right there. You use a 1/4-inch drive for all of these, and they're all the same. To take those two guys out, it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you'll be able to pull this little housing apart. I'm gonna sit it right here, then go ahead and clean the inside. This is the older one, same way it's facing. I'll go ahead and orient it the same way. So I'm gonna orient it just like that. And you're gonna see this clip here, this clip here, this hole here, that one right there. So I'm gonna pull directly straight up. It should come out with fairly ease, but there's two little tabs here that are bent in. So you're gonna have to push on the bottom of that one and on the bottom of this one. Up straight up. This small tab here is going to go into this hole right here, and since this is not reaching over, what you got to do is you got to push down on this, compress this to fit that. That's what locks it in place. You got to squeeze this side to side, sandwiches it in, and this guy comes in just like that. It's going to go in reverse, just right in there, just how it was earlier. So that's tabs on this side here on the front and over here. So you align these tabs on one side and then press on the other side. Once these tabs are aligned, I'll start off with these 2 screws on this side. down. Same thing on this side. Since it is pushed a little bit forward, you might have to bend this in place. Face this over just like this. The component that just came out, you're gonna align it. There's a little black notch here. That notch will go into this hole right there. Line it, sit it in. One screw is gonna go here. The other screw is gonna go here. Same thing for this component here as well. It's gonna sit just like that. One screw is gonna go here, the other one's gonna go there. And it's 1/4 inch drive on a 1/4 inch socket. And that's what it looks like connected. You have one here, one here. I left this wire here because it is the red and white. It's gonna go to the bottom here, and it's gonna go to the top here. I'll go ahead and feed that through. Just press it in there and lock it in place. And my 8mm, I left it there so it can be waiting for me. Then I'll lock this in place, put it all back together. So in the bottom of the housing, you got that 1 8mm, which is right there. And you have the housing itself. This red and white cable goes on the top. I'll tuck this in out of the way. When this comes over, the red is gonna go into the bottom, and then you have the black one. It's gonna go to the top right here. Have this other one, it's gonna lock in place. Can't get this one wrong. Feed it right in, press, locks in place. It's gonna be in. On the back side, it's gonna be the opposite. Since this one with the top one was the black, the top one here is my red, and then the bottom is my black. Go ahead and put those in there, just like that. So it goes right in there. You might have a little tab like that, which just basically holds it in place when it does go all the way through. This guy, I took those 2 bolts, which is 2 8mm, and vacuum all the inside, so there's no lint, nothing like that. I did vacuum the inside of this as well, and it is a lot cleaner than it was. All your buildup is gonna come right here, and it's gonna clog up your fan, and your fan's right there with a pulley. So everything else here is vacuum. So I vacuumed everything inside, so it's really clean, and it's all ready to go back together. So with the drum in and the belt in, again, this portion of the tensioner is gonna press outward. Imagine it coming like that. And basically where my finger is pulling, you'll have to pull back on it, relieve the tension. See if I can get another hand in there. Push. Put the belt in. Now, the tension is on the back side of it. This will go through the bottom undisturbed all the way through, and then this portion drives up. The belt will spin. The tensioner is gonna pull that way because the spring is in the bottom here, so it's gonna want to pull that way. So you need to have it on the back side, and then this will just spin freely. You can see it's just me rotating it. That's what it's gonna look like when it rotates. With the drum on, I'm holding it with my left hand. This other one here, this pulley here is gonna ride on the bottom here, and the other pulley as well. They're like plastic wheels. I'm gonna call them pulleys, but they're just plastic wheels that they drive on the bottom. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and put the bottom in. Set it down just like that. Continue holding the drum on the top. I didn't take out the screws all the way because it gives me that option. Once I set those wheels in on the drum itself, go ahead and use the screw, pull a little bit high, locks in place. Pull it a little bit high here on this side as well. Clearing that screw. Knee right here, I just clear that screw. It's got a deeper hole, so you just leave the screw in there. You just back it up some, raise it high, lock it in. This bends back and forth, allows you to bend back and forth. On the bottom here, this is the drum itself, and then this is this panel. You want to have this panel clear this with the actual membrane that's in the bottom. It rides right there. The wheel, one of the wheels is right here, and the other wheel is right here. So once that clears, you'll be able to freely rotate this around smoothly like that. Once it freely clears and it's smooth and it's spinning, this is locked in place. It kind of is held on there, and with the tension of my knee on the bottom here, I'm able to work on the screw here, the screw here, the screw there, and the screw here. Put all 6 of these screws in, and they're going to be 8 millimeters. 8 millimeter and a quarter is the only screws that you're going to be using. When it comes down to this clip, make sure you clip this on. Put them in hand tight, and then give them a couple spins. Forget this clip here. There's one more clip here. Once the actual door portion of this comes all together, on the bottom here, you do have these almost like hook style clips. They're held on right here on the back side, and they're just kind of pried in there. But these little hooks here on the other side, it's just a slot. So basically you got to raise it, lower it in, and it holds the bottom side on this side, and the same thing on that side. On the top, from the inside out, you get 2 8 millimeters, and that's what holds this top portion all together. When you put this back on, you get this plastic clip that'll fall in there and guide it, and this all that's holding your dryer together. Really easy, simple design, and very effective. Work on the bottom. If you get this clip, the sooner the better. That way you don't have to worry about it. It's that easy. You don't have a gap in between here, and that's it. My 8 millimeter is right there, and it's gonna go straight in, just like that. So I was really curious to see exactly where the break was or the short was. So I did use my multimeter to like actually trace it down to this small break.
after I found this bolt brake here. That's why it gave me an open line when I was hitting it up with my multimeter. I can go into further more detail, but didn't want to make the video any longer.